haven't been this excited since your Greyhound pulled in the camera.
Excited about what?
Meeting,
Oh.
or all in anticipation of what's gonna happen.
Do you need help? Wait for Commissioner Mendoza. Mm-hmm. Good morning, good evening, everyone. Thank you, and welcome to today's Planning Commission meeting. I'm going to call the meeting to order at 6 o'clock. Can I get a roll call?
Chair Zavala,
Here.
Vice Chair Urquidez, Commissioner Garcia,
Here.
Commissioner Gallardo, Commissioner Mendoza.
Thank you. Can we please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance? Okay, we're going to move on to D, public comments from the audience regarding items not on the agenda.
No comments.
No emails or anything?
No, not at all.
Okay, thank you. E, consent agenda, adoption of the November 13th, 2024 Planning Commission special meeting minutes.
Move to approve.
Second,
I have a motion and a second. Can I get everyone in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Thank you. Public hearings, consideration of a resolution recommending that the city council adopt an ordinance amending chapter 17.78 of the Greenfield Municipal Code related to drive-in and drive-through facilities, consideration modifications to distancing requirements for the drive-through facilities from residential zones. Can we get a staff report?
Thank you. Good evening, Madam Chair, members of the Planning Commission. Paul Mugen, thank you for being here tonight. The first agenda item before you tonight is a proposed amendment to the municipal code. The particular section involves regulating our drive-through facilities that attach to commercial facilities. Our current code forbids, well, it prohibits any drive-through facilities within 300 feet of residentially zoned parcels. And I want to emphasize that the existing code as it exists today was enacted for a reason. The zoning code that goes back to 2007, this part is not included in the 2007 version of the code. So obviously, drive-throughs do have impacts to residential noise, increased conflicts with circulation, and other issues that may or may not be mitigated. The current code does not allow decision makers, neither the Planning Commission nor the City Council, the ability to review any projects that have a drive-through and that are within 300 feet of a residentially zoned parcels. Recently, we have had an application, and probably will have more applications where the applicant was unable to move forward at all because of this criteria. So staff decided to bring it back to decision makers to vet whether or not you may want to simply change one word in the code from shall, change the word shall to may, and provide decision makers the opportunity to approve projects with the drive-through that are within 300 feet of a residential area. We proposed that decision makers would have to make a finding that the project is not detrimental to the health, safety, and welfare of neighboring residents or the city, really, for that matter. Essentially, that's what we're here about, and I will answer questions if I have any, but it's a relatively simple proposed amendment to the code. Currently, as I said, decision makers will not even see a project with drive-through facilities. I would only add that, as you're well aware, economic development is fluid, and increasingly with the technological advancements and milestones, whether it's artificial intelligence or traditional brick and mortar retailers just changing their business plan to rule out the brick and mortar construction. Increasingly, we're seeing drive-through facilities as an attractive part of a business person's business plan. So we thought we'd bring the item back. Staff's recommendation included in your staff report is a resolution of approval. It's a recommendation to the city council for a first and second reading that the city council change the zoning code to permit the projects at least to be presented and have the opportunity to possibly be approved, provided the proper mitigation and design and any other issue is addressed to your satisfaction. That concludes my remarks.
Thank you, Mr. Meehan. I'm going to go ahead and open up a public hearing. Do you have anyone?
No comment, yes.
I'll go ahead and close public hearing. Planning Commission discussion and decision. Commissioner Garcia?
Mr. Meehan, could you expand on that? You said currently no projects with drive-throughs would come before us. Is that what you said?
That's correct.
Then how did the McDonald's and Taco Bell projects go through the Planning Commission in 2014 and 2018?
Yeah, I can't answer that. Best case or, pardon me. Giving the benefit of the doubt, the staff must have overlooked that. That's the best thing I could possibly say. It's the first thing that we noticed when the project came in, and it's surrounded on three sides by residential. And the word in the code is shall. It says, as shown in Exhibit A, drive-through aisles shall not be located within 300 feet from a residential zone and 1,000 feet from a rural. And if we just change that word from shall to may, and then require a finding that it's not detrimental, it allows staff to dig into the project a little more to see if there can't be a design that might protect residences. But again, I don't want to understate the fact that the city council, by using this language, explicitly said we are not going to allow this in the city, and we do not want to consider such projects. So that suggests pretty strong deference to residents that might be affected by a drive-through.
Yeah, we have two projects that are violating that. If a project would come forward with the public notice requirements apply so that residents that do live in close proximity to any project would have a chance to come and object?
Absolutely, yes.
And will the decision to change this code affect the application that was withdrawn?
I can't answer that because we have not had any contact with the applicant since they withdrew their application, and I'd also mention that they're not on the agenda, but I will say that they stated explicitly that it was this section is the reason that they withdrew their application. They may have noticed also that there's been projects approved that were within 300 feet of residential.
Yeah, I think I like the word may versus shall, and within versus as standard minimum.
Anything else? Vice Chair Peters?
Yeah, what establishment is trying to come in under 300 feet of homes? What coffee shop?
Who was the applicant? Right?
It would be a matter of public record to say that the applicant was Starbucks. But again, that's not, we need to decide this not because of Starbucks or any other applicant. They're not on the agenda. It's just, it's staff's. And again, I mentioned the comments about the city council because the city council very well could look at us and say, we passed this 5 years ago, why are you here? We do not want to see these, but at least we all can acknowledge that commercial is constantly changing. There's less and less. We're shopping different today than we did 10 years ago. And it's showing up in things like this. So.
But with that said, it's going to get even worse because houses are coming in more than the drive-ins are coming in. So soon there's going to be more houses around the drive-ins, so that establishes it 300 feet.
Yeah.
So that takes away this, what we're talking about tonight. Because, if we keep it in for now, then I would think that eventually somebody's going to complain because the driving comes in and there's houses around there and it's never really wrong. I could be wrong.
Yeah. Well, it's controversy with development projects is, that's this is why we have planning commissioners like yourselves to make the tough decisions.
We need more commercial.
Yeah. And there's that argument as well. And And this weighed heavily on staff's recommendation to approve. We think that there's, you can count on residents who would be negatively impacted, regardless of what project it is, to come and voice their concerns. And so it naturally places an added burden on the applicant to demonstrate how the noise is mitigated, how the circulation plan works to avoid excessive conflicts that otherwise would not exist but for the drive-through. So,
Mr. Chair, can I just ask one more question? I had it written down, but I didn't see it. Are there any documented complaints from either McDonald's or Taco Bell from the drive-through light, sound, traffic?
no, ma'am.
Community to residential?
No, we don't have any complaints.
Thank you.
Anything else? Commissioner Gallardo?
300 feet, that's the length of a football field, 100 yards. Right.
Yes, sir.
You don't have to call me sir.
Sorry.
I don't see how, when they put it in Mickey D's, how that was an oversight. That's gotta be less than 100 feet from that residential area.
That's
So I can
budding.
overlook that.
I know.
Okay, let's not live in the past, let's go forward. I've been, like forever, to help businesses come into town. Create more tax revenue, create jobs. So just by changing one word from shall to may, it's gonna help businesses come in, I'm all for it. I don't see where, what are we talking about? Yeah, Taco Bell, yeah. But Burger King doesn't fall in that criteria because Burger King is, I think it's at least 100 yards from it. I haven't been out there, I haven't tasted it. But anyway, I'm for changing that word. And I'm in complete agreement with Commissioner Garcia. So that's my 2 cents.
Thank you. Commissioner Mendoza?
I'm good with changing it to May.
Thank you. Me too. If that's going to open up opportunities for more projects to come in, I'm all for it as well. We have, I think, a proposed motion. Page 9.
I move that the Planning Commission adopt Resolution 2024-09, recommending that the City Council adopt an ordinance amending Chapter 17.78 of the Greenfield Municipal Code related to drive-in and drive-through facilities, considering modifications, distancing requirements for drive-through facilities from residential zones.
Can I get a second? All in favor? Aye. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, moving on to number 2, consideration of resolution approving a design review and conditional use permit for a self-storage facility with recreational vehicle parking stalls at 799 El Camino Real. Can you get a staff report?
Good evening, Commissioners. Can you hear me okay?
Yes.
Okay, great. Today's project is a design review and conditional use permit for a self-storage and recreational vehicle storage facility just down the street at 799 El Camino Real. So this is the project location. Like I said, it's at 799 ECR. It consists of about just a portion of this parcel, primarily the southern portion, that L shape you see at the edge. Wish I had a pointer. It is under the light industrial zoning district, which accommodates this type of development, and it has an industrial park overlay. And with that industrial park overlay, it just sets a higher standard of review for staff, and this project was reviewed accordingly. It's intended to ensure that the construction, the design, the landscaping is of superior quality. And, well, I think this is just to make sure that it doesn't look like an industrial site, because they're not always the most attractive, but I can say with confidence that this project exceeded the standard of review that our zoning code sets for this type of development. So more details on the project with the rendering there at the top. It consists of 3 primary buildings, which house 766 self-storage units ranging in size. There is a covered port for 61 covered parking spaces, and these are to house recreational vehicles for storage, and 5 open air spaces for RVs as well. And then at the front there, you have the office for associated work with the storage facility, and 9 guest parking spaces. The project consists of over 36,000 square feet of new landscaping, primarily along the front property line and the interior property line. The whole project spans 5.9 acres for the whole site. And our project representatives are architect Mr. Ken Carroll and the owner, Mr. Gary Mazzini, who's here today. So the site plan gives us a better understanding of the project. You have building A, which wraps around the site, and then buildings B and C there, more self-storage units. But the very center there, those are the covered ports for the RVs. And at the end, on the southern end, that L shape is some open air spaces. At the front property line, abutting ECR, you have ample landscaping, you have the office, and you have the guest parking spaces. And I know it's kind of hard to see on this PowerPoint, but you do have a copy of this on your report. The renderings give us better understanding. So here's the front view. You have that nice office. You have a fence just along the front property line. For the rest of the property, the buildings serve as a fence really, since it wraps around the edge of the property lines. The fence, one thing to note is that it does exceed the allowable height, which is 6 feet. Our zoning code does allow planning commission to approve a higher height than that, and exceeding the allowable height for fences is not uncommon in industrial districts, oftentimes for safety purposes. So that is completely up to you. It's for your review. The elevations, once again, a little hard to see here, but you do have copies of these. And as you can see there, the landscaping is plenty. Project requires a design review, a conditional use permit, which are for your review, and it also requires a lot line adjustment, which is subject to our planning director's approval and to be reviewed by our city surveyor. And that lot line adjustment is because the project currently spans across 3 different parcels, all next to each other, of course, but the applicant intends to move the lot line to the north side to ensure that the project fits within one parcel. So that is part of the project. It's been included since it does encompass the total of the project. It's been reviewed pursuant to CEQA, and we found that it qualifies for the section 151A3 exemption. And you do have a resolution for your review and approval, which includes the conditions of approval. So once public hearing is completed and you completed your deliberations, we do recommend that you approve the resolution. And if you have any questions, I'm here. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Mesa. I'm going to go ahead and open up public hearing. Do we have any comments, emails?
No comments.
No? Okay. I'll go ahead and close public hearing. Planning Commission discussion and decision. Commissioner Garcia?
So you're the owner, sir?
Yeah.
I just wanted to know, I understand that there's spaces for recreational vehicles. Would that include boats as well, or just?
Yeah, boats, cars, RVs, whatever you can fit.
Okay, great. And I wanted to thank staff for this colored coding on your conditions. It looks like you've covered everything. I just want to make sure that will the security cameras be present and connected, or
Yes.
with
Yes.
the police department?
Definitely, it's a condition of approval from our police chief, so that's on there.
Okay, that's all I have.
Vice Chair Peters?
Yeah. Now, with this storage, I heard earlier in your presentation that some of these are going to be covered, RV covered.
Yes,
How many
a majority
spaces?
of them, so 61 of them will be covered spaces and 5 of them will be open air. So most of them, yeah, will be covered parking spaces.
And if this one gets approved and starts building and stuff, that other one is going to stay open too?
We hope so. We're sure there's plenty of business for all of them, or at least we can hope.
Okay. That's what I wanted to know, because I have a RV and I prefer like to be under something
I
cleaner than what it is right now.
I can understand that.
All right, that's all I have. Thank you.
Thank you. Commissioner Gallardo?
Yeah, I'm just curious, are they gonna have a live-in supervisor there?
No, it doesn't seem like it. Last I heard, there's going to be 4 staff members, but they'll primarily be there doing working hours to supervise.
No, that's all I have.
Commissioner Mendoza?
Out of curiosity, how do you do the research that says that Greenfield needs more storage space?
Great question.
We've used feasibility studies, Lady Dunn, that's her whole career. Geologically as well, and we do our own in-house, and then we use her to kind of back it all up. Without her, you can't get a loan for it. She's been instrumental in other projects. The growth in Greenfield, the lack of current supply. Just, when you go south and north, there's really not a whole lot. That's kind of an overall gist of it, but there's a lot more in depth. It's like a huge report.
That's all I have. Thank you.
Thank you. Do you want to take, I have a few questions I don't want to.
Yeah.
Just, I didn't see it on the report. What are the hours of operation? Is it a 24-hour or?
No, we haven't nailed down the actual hours, but it's going to be kind of your standard, like 9 to 5 sort of deal, maybe to 7. I'd have to look, see what we have in the other ones, but no, it's not 24 hours.
Okay.
I know the one that's across the street from there, they're, for RVs, they're open from 7 in the morning to 7 in the evening. So people coming back from vacation, but they can go in and park.
Yeah, and you'll have access via like a gate code, and you can kind of come and go, but the office hours are going to be much more limited. Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
And just out of curiosity, is this your first,
So personally it is, but my family has done others. We're currently building one in Watsonville that should open in March. And then we've got a few others kind of throughout the valley.
okay, I think that's all I got. Does anyone else have any questions?
How long is it going to take to build?
So the one in Watsonville, it's much larger and it's broke ground in May and we should open in March. So they're quick. As long as you go with the same contractor, which we've used, they're excited for it as well.
Awesome. Okay, any more questions?
The project looks very nice.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Very nice. I like it, yeah.
All right, it's good to hear.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, thank you guys.
Okay, I'll go ahead and, let me see, I think there is a motion on here. If anyone, page 20,
Yeah. I'll think.
okay.
I move that the planning commission of the city of Greenfield adopt resolution number 2024-10, granting design review and conditional use permit approval for the new self-storage and recreation vehicle storage facility at 799 El Camino Real, subject to the following conditions of approval, including in the resolution.
Can you give a second? All in favor? Aye. Thank you.
Great, thank you so much.
Thank you, good luck.
Thank you.
Okay, we're going to move on to G, other business, general plan requirements and update. Do we have a staff report?
Good evening, Planning Commission. Thank you for having me again. My name is Imani Harrigan, and I am here to present today an informative report about our general plan and its elements. So the general plan is the city's vision, goals, and document about our programs and policies that we plan to implement for the future growth of our city. A general plan is required by our municipality by the state law. Also, so these general plans have a planning horizon of about 20 years. So in 2005, Greenfield adopted a general plan, which will soon be expiring next year in 2025. So thus, it is now time for the city to update its general plan. So to update the general plan, the elements, which are basically chapters that address different items for our city, need to be updated. 7 of the general plan elements that we currently have are mandated by the state, but there are 9 mandated elements. So those elements are land use, housing, conservation, open space, noise, safety, and housing. Sorry, I mentioned that earlier. Air quality and environmental justice. Apologies about that. And so, since those are mandated by the state, they have specific things that they need to do. So for land use, it is a designation of the different types of land use and development that we have in our city, so whether it be commercial, industrial, or residential. Moving forward from there, the housing element, which needs to be the first element completed for our general plan. It is about providing affordable housing, the different types of housing we have, and housing for every different income level. So that is on its current 3rd pass back with the Housing and Community Development Department. And once that will be approved, that will officially kick off the updating of the general plan. The circulation element that the city has is about our transportation systems, whether that be local streets, highways, pedestrian transportation, as well as bike. Following that, our conservation element is in tandem with the open space element. It is about preserving our natural resources, our open spaces, our conservation of biological resources, and the like. Also, the noise element is about addressing ambient noise in our community, whether that be through community activities or development. Then the safety element is about addressing biological and geological hazards to the community. So the general plan also has additional elements included into it. The state law does not require these elements, but it does say that they need to be consistent with state statutes and the other elements included in the general plan. The additional elements that the 2005 general plan has in it are growth management, recreation, safety, and economic development. So the growth management element was about the economic status of the city and bringing in more businesses and the constraints to economic growth in our city. Growth management was about our population growth and where we will grow within our facilities in the city. And then the recreation element was put with the conservation and open space element because it's about utilizing our open spaces for recreational purposes. And the health element was included with the safety element on hazards to the community. So 2 other mandated elements that are not included in our current plan but are now included by state because they're newer regulation are air quality and environmental justice. So air quality is about reducing pollutants to our air quality. The air quality element, although it is now new, was originally addressed in our safety and health element as a hazard to the community. Environmental justice is about decreasing pollutant exposure and a lack of civic engagement in our community. So moving forward, the first element that needs to be approved is the housing element because that is under the HCD's jurisdiction. Following that, we can move forward with updating the rest of our general plan elements for our future growth, and going up to at least 2045. And after that, the zoning code will also be updated to be cohesive with the new policies in the new general plan. And this will be top priority in next year for the Community Development Department. The department is also creating a schedule for reviewing and public outreach for the general plan so that decision makers such as yourself can have a voice in saying what's going on with our community. And this is all I have to say in the report. No further actions. Thank you. And I'll be addressing questions.
Thank you, Ms. Harkin. I'm going to go ahead and open up a public hearing. Do we have any public comments?
No comments.
Thank you. Okay, I'll go ahead and planning commission discussion and comments. Commissioner Garcia?
You did write a lot this Thank you for that. It's hard to believe you're an intern because you're very professional and prepared, and this is a well-written report, so well done.
Thank you.
I have a question about the environmental justice component. I don't know. So that's to address pollutant exposure and lack of civic engagement. Would the pollutant exposure include pesticides that are being applied in the fields, do you think? Because I know we have a very active group here in town that is really passionate about that issue.
Yes, it
And
would.
I think those two things, civic engagement and that would maybe bring some audience members.
Yes, it will address pesticide pollutants, yes.
Great. So is there a plan on how to generate public input when the general plan is starting to get put together?
So currently, the Community Development Department is creating a schedule to be having outreach meetings and other ways to outreach within the community to get back their feedback.
Okay, I would suggest refreshments. Thank you.
Thank you. Vice Chair Quiles? Commissioner Gallardo?
So as of right now, the city really doesn't have a plan in place to try to prevent pollution from getting here or set aside anything like that?
Currently, anything to do with addressing air pollutants would be in our current plan, where air quality is addressed as our safety hazards, and there's studies and data on what creates that in the city and what are allowable measures for that.
Yeah, but as of right now, there's nothing in place that nothing passed.
I'll have to defer to Paul on this question.
Not to my knowledge.
Okay, sorry. Yeah, sorry.
Commissioner Mendoza?
No.
Thank you. All right, I think we just accept the report. There's no action needed.
Nope.
Okay, well, thank you for that. Thank you. Okay, moving on to comments from Planning Commission and staff. This is a time on the agenda for Planning Commissioners and staff to make brief comments about items within the subject matter jurisdiction of the Planning Commission. Commissioner Garcia? Thank you. Vice Chair Quiles?
I don't know if this is a part of the planning commission or not. I'm noticing lately that cities, including Salinas, is setting a precedent where cars can't be parked 20 feet away from the interstate, from the street, the corner of the street. I think that's one of the things that maybe we would draw up, maybe the city council.
Sorry to interrupt, Vice Chair. Do you mind moving closer to the microphone?
Can you hear me now? Okay. What I proposed was that there's city ordinance throughout the state of California. And one of them is included in Salinas, where you have, the ordinance is that you cannot park within 20 feet of the corners of the streets. So that means you have to be 20 feet away from the, 20 feet away from the curb.
Corner.
Yeah, the intersection, the corners, or whatever you want to call it.
Where
yeah.
did you see this? I'm sorry.
I seen this, it passed a few weeks ago in San Francisco. San Francisco passed it. Now Salinas has passed it. There's other few small cities up in the Bay Area that passed it. Because with the traffic pollution we have here, it's really bad. You know, in my neighborhood, and I imagine other neighborhoods, when you try to make a turn right or left, you're hoping another car is not coming around because you're gonna hit each other. So you gotta stop and wait for that car to go around because people are still parking in the handicap. So maybe I should bring that up at the city council meeting.
Anything else, Vice Chair? Okay. Commissioner Gallardo?
I'm kind of following on Commissioner Peters' first here. I ran into a situation years ago on Open San Antonio where people park almost all the way to the corner, and there's nothing there that prohibits them from parking that close to the corner. And like Bob was said, you can't see oncoming traffic. If you're gonna make a left turn, you can't see coming traffic. And I almost got nailed. And I guess it would have been my fault because I didn't wait long enough, but I just couldn't see if there was an oncoming vehicle. And yeah, I would go along with that, keeping people from parking that close to the corner. But following that, that brought something up that I've noticed year after year after year. Because of Oak Avenue School, there's a section there on the street where it's just painted red. It's painted red, you're not allowed to park. There's even a sign that says towing, your car will be towed. But you can park, you can pass by there, the school's getting started, or when the school's getting it out, and there's people parked up and down that red section. And what am I guessing? Am I guessing that these people who are parking there, maybe they took their driver's test with a shopping cart, and they don't know what the red means? And in all the years that I've been living there, I've never seen a car get cited from there, or a car get towed. But like I said, and I'm being redundant here, that whole curve right there is painted red. Please not park, okay? And another issue. I was asked this morning, afternoon, some person wanted to know what was going on in that little, I'm gonna call it academy. I was supposed to open an afternoon, that's that little market. I've been sitting there idle for months, a year over a year. That's months. Yeah. Months, look at it. Does anyone know anything about what's going on with that?
I think we got an update a few months ago.
Yeah. So, I mean, it looks like the building is done. Yeah. I don't know if they're having trouble getting alcohol license or whatever, but maybe someone will find out for us. That's my suggestion.
Thank you. Commissioner Mendoza?
Nope, don't have anything big.
No. Vice Chair Urquidez?
Yeah, what's still going on with that market that was on the corner of El Camino and Oak?
So it looks like we need some updates. If we can probably put that on the agenda for the next meeting.
Yes. What was Oak and what?
El Camino, yeah, the old, what's,
Buyer.
Buyer building,
The Bayer Building.
yeah.
Okay.
That's an eyesore, big time.
Well, Commissioner Gallardo, I was actually going to say that on my, about the parking right in front of Oak School. I hate to bring this up again, but code enforcement. Yeah, I don't even know what to say anymore. You know, I've had some issues myself, and I go and I do the proper, you know, what I'm supposed to do to report whatever I need to report, and nothing really happens. Or, you know, I feel like they don't take us seriously, and they just give us the runaround when it comes to planning commission. I did see that there was like an update report from the PD on the last city council meeting. I requested it, so I got it by email, which was a really nice report. It was nice to see the numbers, because sometimes, you know, people ask, what is code enforcement doing, or, you know, and so it was nice to get that report. So maybe in the future, if, you know, we get that report as well, so just so we know. But yeah, I also question, you know, that's a school and nobody follows the rule. I know, I see that all the time.
Even part where it says bus loading and unloading, even parking.
Yeah, I see it every day. I know.
You see the people that pass the buses with the red lights on.
So maybe it just, I don't know, if Captain Paredes or Chief Mixer, you know, want to come to our next meeting, and so, you know, we can let them know what we see. Because I did request it on, and it's on the minutes, I did request an update from code enforcement. I thought we were going to have one too, but, you know. So. But yeah, that's all I have. Does anyone else have anything else to add?
I do. I have two comments. So first one, just staff reminding all the commission about the Planning Commissioners Academy that is coming up. So if any of you are interested, please let staff know so we can start the preparations, setting you guys up, and the hotel and all the stuff that needs to be taken care of. You can let any one of us know, and we can start the preparations. Second of it, we are going to have a end-of-year report that includes all the data from all of this year that will be presented to Planning Commission on the next meeting. And that will include updates on the major projects as well.
Okay, thank you, Braulio. All right. I'm going to go ahead and adjourn at 6:47.